How much, Jan, do these two injuries affect them over these 2 legs?
Well, I think the injuries affect them that they get insecure. I think they have enough going forward. But how long will it take them to find a way to play together? And St. Pauli, it will be enough for St. Pauli, no disrespect to them. But when you play Inter, when you come now at the quarterfinal of the Champions League, you need more. And when you think of this as being a weakness of Bayern, and it's that, I'm not saying there's a pressure that home final, but I mean that is the big target of the season. And that's why Karl-Heinz Rummenigge said some weeks ago that he was so annoyed when they gave away those 3 points against Bochum at home. Remember, they lost 3-2 when they did a big-time rotation in the team, because now they have to look over the shoulders also in the Bundesliga, and that can't be an advantage for them now going into the main target now. They would like to have the Meisterschale just standing there waiting for them to have it on Mariaplatz after the season. But now they have to be a bit worried about that as well. And as you know, there is a big turmoil in Germany now about the injuries, because that's what clubs hate, when players go away on international and they're coming back on crutches and going straight to hospitals.
What's this Meisterschale? What is that? The Championship?
The Championship, yes.
Can I just butt in?
No.
Did you see that ridiculous story today about potential legal action against...
Right, let's hear it. Let's do that. That's a nice segue, Craig. Well done. Because this is what Dresden had to say. We're demanding a full investigation into the events from Canada Soccer and expressly reserve the right to take legal action, sending a clearly injured player with a damaged knee on a 12-hour intercontinental flight without a thorough medical assessment is, in our view, grossly negligent and a clear breach of medical duty of care.
So who breached their duty of care? Because clearly he got on this 12-hour flight in Germany. So don't Bayern Munich bear a little bit more of the responsibility?
Yeah, but are they saying because it's his ACL, isn't it?
It's an ACL.
They've put him back. I mean, come on. Are they saying he should have stayed in Canada to have the ACL repaired? Because if he can't have the ACL repaired in Canada, I'm sure they want it done in Germany. They have the specialist there. Unless he rows a canoe there, he's got to get on a flight, hasn't he?
Right, let's clarify all this for us.
As the Norwegian lawyer of Bayern Munich, I have to take the other side here, because this is about a power battle. We know that always between club and national teams and national federation. They have just extended his contract with XY billion of euros, and this happening. First of all, so it's also an analysis based on emotions. That's point number one. But I think that the big story in Germany is that he was not supposed to play the second game, and he wanted it, or did the national coach want it? So I think that Bayern Munich got a case, boys. I don't think we should kind of just say, yeah, thank God he went home and played for his country. We know
Bayern Munich don't have a case.
When is this ever...
They don't have a case, because how do you have a case if you have a player that goes away and plays international football and gets injured? Whether there's some sort of gentleman's agreement or not, there's no legal case here, because it would open up a whole can of worms.
Thank you, Craig, for believing that I was a proper lawyer there. Thank you that you took that line. But what I'm saying is the case is always between club and federations. We know that, Craig. We all love to play for our country. We had to go home. The players should not be involved in things like this. So what Dresden is now doing, the CEO of Bayern, what Bayern is doing, that is what every club in the world would do when they go away and an expensive player is out for 6, 7, 8 months. So I think we should understand Bayern, what they're saying here. And if they then get into a investigation, quote, Craig, for you, if they go into that, I think that is a part of kind of this discussion that you always get when you get injuries like this.
But would this not just set a precedent, Jan? Everyone's going to be suing everyone for every little injury that they pick up on international duty.
Who owns their injuries? Who is making the big decisions? And we can't just throw away that, because that is a big thing in football. If a player is half injured, if he feels something, and that's why I understand the club. Do I think they have a chance in a court against federation? Of course not. But I think it's fair of Bayern doing that and asking those questions.
To that point, so if I gather what Jan is saying correctly, if I do, I agree, that Bayern Munich have a case to complain. Not a legal case, not a leg to stand on in terms of a legal case. They have a complaint and they have every right to ask for an investigation. I think there are a couple of things here that add to the context. Alphonso Davies is Canada's captain. They get beaten in the semi-final. They then playing for this third place up against the US, given that rivalry. Now keep in mind, Alphonso Davies is not a 16 or 17-year-old. Alphonso Davies is an established international, easily the best player that Canada has ever produced, easily the leader within that dressing room. If he decides he's not playing, he's not playing. If he decides he's playing, he's playing. It's his call. And Jesse Marsh and the rest of Canada's soccer, I don't think changes or can change Alphonso Davies' mind one way or the other. So now, given the billions of euros to use Jan's amount that Alphonso Davies has now signed, Bayern have a complaint, and now they want to ask their player, well, you told us you weren't going to play, or what? How did things come together? And somebody answers that, and you move on. I think, truthfully, the bigger picture to this, and again, just kind of regurgitates the discussion around player load management, because if you see the challenge, it was the most innocuous looking thing you've ever seen, and all of a sudden we have another ACL tear to add to a lengthy list of international players at top-level clubs with this kind of injury.
I get the club v country thing. It's been going on since day dot, and so has the managers getting totally annoyed about players overplaying. But let's be honest here. This is just rhetoric from Bayern Munich. It's nothing more. They do not have a legal leg to stand on because the player wants to play, as Shaka said. He hasn't gone on. He hasn't walked on with a set of crutches, and I've tried to get him to play. These things happen. It's an occupational hazard, and unfortunately, the clubs bear the brunt of these international games and the injuries. But to come out and start talking about legal action is bully boy tactics. And it's also trying to bully the players, I think, in terms of, listen,
Remember who pays your wages.
We're your employer, we pay your wages, you remember when you come back. And it's a real tough one to take because you want to play for your country.
Here's another of my bugbears, and as someone who played in CONCACAF as well, and European clubs, and this kind of attitude towards smaller nations, CONCACAF nations, had Kimmich gotten injured playing for Germany, would we be having this discussion around Bayern Munich wanting to sue the German FA? No, we wouldn't. Had somebody been injured playing for another, whoever, would we be having this discussion about Bayern Munich wanting to sue one of the European FAs? I'm yet to hear it. Maybe I've missed it. I'm yet to hear it.
Okay. I think that is a cheap shot, Shaka. I think that you have to understand where Bayern come from. If that happened also to a European federation, they will do the same. We've heard kind of same rhetoric also on European nations. But I think that what we are discussing here, that is the importance of game. That is a point. They couldn't win the final. Maybe they didn't understand how important it is for Canada to beat USA. Fair enough. That will always be the case, as Craig has been saying. That has been from day one. But I think that the thing is with injuries, who decide when a player going to play? Yes, it's the player, but with three of us, we are all internationals, and we know players should never get involved in anything anyway, because you can only lose, because you have the club paying your wages and you want to play for your country.